Hey, what do you say? The Vancouver Canucks have just won their last game of the road trip. We knew that heading into this game, it was all bleak. The drama was riding high on Sportsnet 650. All over social media, people were talking about the future. People were talking about the now. People were talking about trades and management, ownership, coaches, players, all being unhappy with each other. Okay, I'm kind of exaggerating there, but it makes for a nice dramatic effect. This team was so bad for the majority of this road trip that when it comes to this final game over here, if there were any Vancouver Canucks fans that are still on the "hey, I believe we can make the playoffs" train, which at this point I'm not too sure if there are too many of you. If there are, then hey, please let me know in the comments if you're still on the "we can make the playoffs" train. But this final game was one that needed to go the way that it did. And I'm going to be honest, the Canucks didn't even really play all too great of a game. This is another one of those wins where they take advantage of a team that's kind of slumping, and they don't play a full 60-minute effort. In fact, the Canucks played what was probably like, let's say 45-minute effort, because they came alive in the second period. They scored a boatload of goals over there. In the third, they just kind of laid back and they let the Buffalo Sabres do what the Sabres needed to do. And I feel like they're kind of lucky to escape this one with the 1-goal lead, especially since they were so unsuccessful at trying to go for that empty net. But either way, the final score here is 5-4 Vancouver. If you take a look at how exactly the Canucks were playing in this one, I'd say they won because of a few things. Firstly, Spencer Martin did what Spencer Martin needs to do. Sure, he let in 4 goals, but at the same time, he made some big saves when he needed to. He was going out there and being the rock that the Canucks and their very bad defense core so desperately need to consistently win games. The Canucks also won this game because on the multitude of chances they had in the first half hour, pretty much, they capitalized on a lot of the good ones. Very nice opportunities with no screens in front, 1v1s on the goalies, tip-ins, and it was really good for a lot of these Vancouver shooters. You know who I want to give a big shout out to? One Mr. Bo Horvat, because this guy going out there with a goal and 2 assists, he went out and really just boosted up the trade value. We had a report earlier today from Craig Button saying that Bo Horvat is done with the team. And for good reason. I mean, anybody trying to fill in the blanks as to why he might be done, yeah, you just got to take a look at where the team is with their direction and what they've been doing the past few weeks to see where that comes from. But done or not, Bo Horvat went out there and put on a show with a goal and 2 assists. He's helping out my fantasy team, so very good to see that from the captain. The game, though, honestly, was quite freaky, and the reason I say that is because at one point, the Canucks had a 2-0 lead, the Canucks then had a 3-1 lead, the Canucks then also had themselves a 5-2 lead, and then they played the third. This team, you talk about them going out there and holding on to wins, being weak-minded, etc., etc. I feel like the third period of this game, where it started out 5-3 and then became 5-4, I feel like this third period was really just the Canucks being what you might say is a strategically motivated team, but one that just doesn't really execute in the best way possible. Now, sure, I get it, they won, so the execution was there, but at the same time, the Buffalo Sabres had so many opportunities to tie this game. It's just Vancouver played a shutdown style in the third where it was like, okay, we're going to spend the majority of the period in our own zone, and that's okay. That's the plan. We just want to make sure that we keep them to the outside, we neutralize their opportunities, and then we clear it, dump it down, get the change on, and then rinse and repeat. The strategy worked. Don't get me wrong. They did get a goal against in the third period, making it 5-4 after it was 5-3 the entire time, but I don't know what it is, man. Just watching my favorite team get hemmed into their zone for a good, 20 minutes. Seriously, that was the period. It did not feel all too great, and all it takes is one Tage Thompson shot to go in. All it takes is one weird bounce off of a guy in the slot that finds Casey Mittelstadt, and all of a sudden you're within one. All it takes is a Rasmus Dahlin shift where the guy comes alive for things to go different. But I guess, the strategy worked, so I'll give Bruce and company the credit for that one. But if we go over to all the goals that were scored here in this game, it kicks off at the 7-minute mark of the first period where it's Will Lockwood. He's in the lineup now because Stadnyko is out in the IR. Lockwood had a crazy good game, all things considered, and this play was one where he showed off why he was called up in the first place. Lockwood wins a battle down low in the Sabres zone. He throws it to the opposite side where Niels Åman is there, and he throws a beautiful cross-crease pass right to Dakota Joshua, and he buries it. It's 1-0 Vancouver. This line, I felt like they actually had a pretty good game, so props out to Åman, Joshua, and, of course, Will Lockwood. Give it a few minutes after this Joshua goal is scored, and eventually it's Connor Garland in the corner who goes up to Bo Horvat. Horvat finds Ethan Bear in the mid-slot. He takes a shot, and it's screened by JT Miller. Bear gets the goal. It's 2-0 just 10 minutes into the game. But that 2-0 quickly became more fear and woe for Canucks fans because Jeff Skinner goes out there and scores right after. It's Rasmus Dahlin who does Rasmus Dahlin-like things. A beautiful cross-crease pass through like 6 guys, and Skinner is right there on the doorstep to pot it in. Goaltender can't do anything about that one. The pass was too good. The pass was too deceptive. It goes in. It's 2-1. The second period starts, and Elias Pettersson immediately gets one 30 seconds in. The Canucks were coming off the tails of a power play, that in which they weren't able to capitalize on, but after that expired, the Canucks held the zone, they kept the pressure going on, and it's Hughes to OEL, a long shot, and tipped in front by Petey himself. The Sabres took a long look at this one, either for the offside, because when OEL kind of took the shot, he pulled the puck back a little bit, but no offside there. The broadcast crew on Sportsnet was speculating if they were trying to catch Elias Pettersson on the high stick, which also was a possible theory as to why they were taking so long, but no, it was deemed a good goal. They just continued playing. And Jeff Skinner, guess what? He goes right off the crossbar the next shift, and it does not feel good because, the Canucks, even though they have a 3-1 lead, this is the ill-fated 2-goal lead the Canucks always seem to blow, and against Buffalo, this is a team that's hungry. They're trying to claw back. They've been down in the dumps the past few games over here. Jeff Skinner goes off the crossbar, JJ Peterka goes off the post too, and then it's Tage Thompson. He goes out there and toe drags right around Oliver Ekman-Larsson, centers it to Jeff Skinner. Skinner gets his second on the game. It's 3-2 Vancouver, just 4 minutes into the second period. Now, this goal kind of happens because Andrei Kuzmenko, a few seconds earlier, just threw the puck away in the offensive zone. I'm going to be honest, man, I didn't think Kuzmenko had that great of a game, but at the same time, he's coming back into the lineup after being scratched, so I'll give him a little bit of leeway, especially since he's getting used to NHL scheduling where you have 82 games in a season, and this is the most that he's had to play ever, so I'll give him a little bit of a pass, but this goal kind of comes off of his stick over there. The Canucks then get themselves a power play, and this is where things get funny because they end up not doing all too well in the first shift. Okay, it was cycled around a little bit, it was stopped up, but then, after JT Miller tries to throw a pass over to Elias Pettersson, it deflects into the glass by the Sabres defenseman, and on the ensuing faceoff, Bo Horvat wins it to Miller. Miller holds onto it. There's nobody in front. The two Sabres defenders are nowhere, and Miller just kind of looks at the goalie, he shoots it, he scores. It's a very simple, just 1v1 goal against Craig Anderson, and Miller makes it 4-2 because of it. It's 4-2 Vancouver. Will Lockwood then draws a penalty on the next shift. It's Dahlin for tripping, and then Bo scores after making it 5-2. This was a weird play where the Buffalo Sabres had a line change while the Canucks were coming into the zone. It's Besser who takes the puck at the Sabres blue line. He throws it into the middle for Horvat, who walks in and he scores. Breakaway and a snipe, and that's all he needs to get his 3rd point on the game and his 14th goal on the season. Alex Tuch then gets a little tip goal in front with 8 minutes to go in the second, and then the third period happens where the Sabres just kind of start taking control of the game. It's just Martin and the Canucks are able to keep up and not allow the Sabres to score. Again, not the best defensive strategy, I feel, but at least they got it done. I would probably have preferred them to, not just go super defensive in this third period, but hey, Bruce, there it is, right? I don't know. He's probably going to get fired sometime soon. Who really knows? But let me know your thoughts in the comment section about Bo Horvat boosting his trade value in today's game, how the Canucks actually got themselves a win, they hold on to the multi-goal lead, and they take things 5-4. Even though it was up 5-2, even though they were up 2-0, even though they were up 3-1, they only win by 1 here. So, talk to the comments your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 99. And Bye.